Hi there, I'm IELTS Master Lee, and welcome to this IELTS Master Strategies video on IELTS Writing Scoring, what you need for a Band 7+ on Writing Task 2. This isn't a difficult lesson today, but it is a very important one, so let's get started. Take a look at the Writing Task 2 band descriptors. This is what the IELTS examiner uses to give you a score, and these are from the IELTS organization. So we have band 9 down to band 5 on the left, and it actually goes down to band 1 or 0. And then we have 4 categories: task response, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, and grammatical range and accuracy. Under each category, you can look at the score and the category to see what you need for each score. Let's look in a bit more detail. So your score is the average of these 4 categories: task response, cohesion and coherence, lexical resource, and grammatical range and accuracy. For example, if you have a 7 in task response, a 7 in cohesion and coherence, a 6 in lexical resource, and a 6 in grammatical range and accuracy, you'll divide this by 4 for a total writing task 2 score of 6.5. Okay? Why is this important? Well, knowing what you need to do for a high score in each category can help you to focus on your weaknesses and improve your strengths. For example, if you're very good at grammatical range and accuracy, that's great, but maybe you need some help or you need to practice your task response. This is important to know. And if you're planning on improving your writing, I recommend you start with task response, then go to cohesion and coherence, then to lexical resource, and finally grammatical range and accuracy. Try to fix your weaknesses or improve your weaknesses in each of these areas in that order. All right? Next, knowing these band descriptors can also help you to write in a style that will give the examiners what they want and help you to finish faster. What do I mean? Well, writing for IELTS Task 2, which is an essay, is not the same as, for example, writing a university essay. It's a different style. There are different ideas, different rules that you want to use for the IELTS than you would for your university essay. For example, one very easy rule is using the word I, like I believe. In a university essay, your teacher will often say, "No, don't use I." But for IELTS writing, it's okay sometimes. All right, so that's one example. If you examine these 4 categories in detail, you have a better idea as to what the examiners want and how you can give them exactly what they want. And if you know this, well, then you can finish faster. And I'm sure if you've practiced the IELTS, you know finishing faster is definitely a good thing. So let's take a look at each category in more detail. Let's start with task response and what you need for a band 7+ in task response. Task response, the first question you should ask yourself is, do you address all parts of the task? And this means, do you answer all parts of the question? For example, if the task asks you to discuss both views and give your own opinion, do you, number 1, discuss both views, and number 2, give your own opinion? If you forget to give your own opinion, well, that's going to hurt your task response score. Your task response score will go down. Next, do you cover each part of the task fully? If it asks you to discuss both views, do you discuss them both in detail, or is only one view very detailed and the other view only a little bit detailed. That's no good. So do you cover each part of the task fully? If you have a problem and solution or problem-solving question, do you talk about the problem and your solution, or do you talk only or mostly about the problem and just a little bit about the solution? That's no good. So cover each part fully. Next, do you have a well-developed response to the question? All right, this is kind of like the first part and the second part. Do you have a well-developed response? Now, it's important to notice it says well-developed response. Does it say smart response or intelligent response or fantastic response? No, it doesn't say you need an intelligent response. This is not university. You don't have to have super amazing, great, fantastic ideas. It's okay if your ideas are normal. Even if your ideas are bad, that's okay. If you're writing an essay on economics and you give an idea for economic policy and your idea is really bad, if you give it to a professor, that's no problem for the IELTS. You just need to develop your response. And part of developing your response is, the next question, are all of your ideas relevant, extended, this means complete more or less, and supported? So are they relevant? Are they connected directly with the topic? Every sentence in your essay needs to be connected to answering the task, answering the questions that the task gives you. Are your ideas extended? Are they complete? One mistake I see really often is I'll have a nice paragraph with great ideas, and then the last sentence will be a new idea. But there's no support for the idea. It's just like an idea. It has no friends. It's such a lonely idea at the end of a sentence. Don't make your ideas lonely. Make sure your ideas have friends, nice examples all around them that they can be connected with. And that's what supported is as well. Okay? Is your position and your conclusion clear? Your position is your opinion, what you think. All right? And make sure this is clear throughout the essay. Being clear is the most important part in your whole essay. So make sure that you're clear. If you have to choose between choice A, using a fancy word, and choice B, using the clear word, definitely choose choice B. Being clear is the most important part. All right? Next, let's take a look at Band 7 Plus, coherence and cohesion. Coherence and cohesion are a little bit difficult, these words. So, more or less, coherence and cohesion means, is your essay logically organized, and do your sentences link to each other? Okay, let's look in more detail now though. First, do you use paragraphing correctly? Do you have one central idea per paragraph? Do you mark your paragraphs clearly? The way I recommend you mark your paragraphs clearly is by skipping a line when you finish one paragraph. Another way to say this is by leaving one line blank after you finish a paragraph. This makes it very easy for the examiner to see when you're starting a new paragraph. You can also indent, which means going into the paper a little bit. But I think for the IELTS test, skipping a line or leaving one line blank is much easier to see and also easier to do when you're under time pressure. So that's what I recommend for paragraphing. Are your ideas and information in a logical order? Does each paragraph look like it's in the correct place? If you're discussing both views, and in the introduction you say you have view A and view B, is your first body paragraph about view A and your second body paragraph about view B, and then your conclusion at the end? Or do you have the introduction with view A, view B, and then for some reason you use view B for your first paragraph? That's kind of strange. So you should have your body paragraphs in the same logical order that your introduction is. All right? And the same thing with the ideas inside your paragraph. Do you have the topic sentence in the beginning of your paragraph? your main central idea? And then do you follow that with your specific ideas? And then the examples to support your ideas. That's logical order. Next, is there an obvious connection between each of your paragraphs? Because the IELTS essay is actually not that long, just 250 words, I like to make a very clear connection between my paragraphs, my body paragraphs in particular. You want to have a clear topic sentence at the beginning of each paragraph. And when the examiner reads this topic sentence, they understand what this paragraph is about and why this paragraph is here. They should understand that from the first sentence. Next, is there an obvious connection between each of your sentences? This is a big problem, and it's probably the biggest problem for coherence and cohesion. Just sometimes, I have to ask, why is this sentence here? And it's very difficult to have each sentence in the perfect place, but that's what coherence and cohesion is about. If you have an idea, next, it's very natural to have an example of the idea. Or maybe you're extending and explaining the idea a little bit more. It would be very strange to have the example first and then the idea second. So don't do that. Is there an obvious connection between each of your sentences? You can also make your connections more obvious by using a range of cohesive devices. For example, linking words, however, nonetheless, in addition, or referencing this or that. Just make sure that you don't use too many cohesive devices. You don't need however or in addition every single sentence. Sometimes, especially in the beginning of paragraphs, it's common not to have a linking word. But include them when you need them, when it makes it clear what the connection between the sentences are. And finally, just to remind you, my advice is to leave a blank line between paragraphs, because being clear is number one. Next, let's take a look at Band 7 Plus lexical resource. First, do you use a wide range of vocabulary for the topic? Next, can you paraphrase effectively? Next, do you use collocations correctly often? Let me talk about these three. First, do you use a wide range of vocabulary? Does this say, do you use difficult vocabulary? Do you use expert, academic, high-level vocabulary? No. It says, do you use a wide range of vocabulary for the topic? This means that if you're writing about education, you don't need to use super high-level words, but if you know words about education specifically, for example, pupil, school, curriculum, words like this that are specifically for education, then that will help you get a higher score. And if you're interested in this, take a look at my vocabulary videos, because I have collocations and a nice range of vocabulary words that you can use for these different topics. The next one is, can you paraphrase effectively? One big mistake that beginning IELTS students often make is to copy the question and use it in their own writing. Instead of copying the question, you should paraphrase the question, paraphrase the task in your introduction. And this means changing some words. I didn't say change all words, just some words, because some words can't be changed easily. You can't find synonyms for every word. That's okay. You don't need a synonym for every word. But for the important words, for the words that you can use synonyms for, then use them if you're sure. If you're not sure, then don't bother. Being clear is number one. Next, can you choose correct words most of the time? Can you use some less common words? Okay, it's good to have some less common words. Again, they don't need to be super duper difficult words, but some less common words. Do you have only occasional or rare errors in spelling or word formation? One of the biggest pieces of advice that I give students who are preparing for the IELTS is to prepare to spell well, to practice spelling, but during the test, don't worry about it. You can make some spelling mistakes, and still get a very high score on the IELTS. Of course, you need to practice spelling. Of course, you need to be ready. But if you're writing and you're like, oh no, how do I spell this word? I can't remember. Don't worry. Just do your best and continue. Don't get stuck on spelling during the test. It's a very, very small part of your overall test. Important? Yes. But is it everything? Is it worth getting stuck and your mind going blank because you're stuck on spelling? Of course not. So just do your best. Prepare, be ready, but don't worry during the real test. And so my advice, finally again, is to focus on topical language, not fancy words. By topical language, I mean words, vocabulary, collocations that are related to this particular topic. Being clear is number one. And finally, we have grammatical range and accuracy. First, do you have a wide range of grammatical structures you can use? This is something that you should practice, but during the real test, don't worry about it too much. Because this next question is more important. Are most of your sentences accurate? This is what you really need to focus on the test. Having a wide range of grammatical structures is important for getting a band 7 or higher, but it's not something that you can really change easily by trying. It's related very closely to your English language level. However, being more accurate is something you can focus on while you're writing. So be sure that you focus on accuracy, not range. Next, is almost all of your punctuation accurate? This should be easy for most of you, but definitely make sure that your punctuation is accurate. Can you use both simple and complex structures effectively? This is related to the range. And so simple sentences like, my name is Lee, and complex sentences like, while this may be true, comma, this is also an interesting idea, period, or full stop. That's a complex structure if you use while and a comma, or I believe this because. When you add the because, it becomes a complex structure. So complex doesn't mean difficult, but complex has a specific definition. We have these special words or commas in the middle of our sentence, and we add a dependent clause and an independent clause together. That's what a complex structure is. And then finally, my advice, focus on accuracy, not range, because being clear is number one. If you're accurate, you're clear. Using big, fancy sentence structures doesn't always make you more clear. And being clear is the most important thing you can do for your writing task too. So before we wrap up today, let's talk about today's action step. First, I want you to take a look through the band descriptors that I've included in the description below. And then look at one of your pieces of writing. Where do you think you are right now? What level do you think you are right now for each of the categories? And what do you need to do to get to the next level? It's very important to think about this on your own first, because doing this self-examination, you can pretend you are an examiner. Examining your own writing in detail can help you understand your weaknesses and your strengths. And finally, what can you do to get to the next level? This is what kind of practice can you do? What kind of books can you read? Thinking about these things on your own will be very helpful for you. And of course, this is difficult for some people. I understand that. If this is difficult for you, get some feedback from an IELTS expert. It can be me, it can be someone else, anyone's okay. But definitely get feedback from an IELTS expert if you need the help. And last but not least, let me know in the comments what you think your weaknesses are right now and what you think your strengths are. I'm looking forward to hearing your answers. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to help you with that too. Thanks so much for watching this video today. I hope it was helpful for you. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more IELTS content. You can find us at youtube.com/IELTSmaster or IELTS-master.com. And tell me, what do you want to see next? I'm looking forward to hearing from you in the comments. Have a fantastic day.